It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the warm cabin tonight.
Finally warm.
It is. You want me to open a window?
No, you don't have to open a window. It's just, you know what?
I'm going to open a window.
Okay, why don't you open
You
a window?
entertain the folks. Sorry, I'm going to
entertain the folks, and he's going to open a window.
We're going to open a window here. It is a little warm.
Oh, see, it was 71 in Wisconsin today.
71. All right.
I think it was 70-something here today.
Broke the 70s. Got to like that, man. That means that's coming our way, too.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a sure lot better than a little bit of water we had last week.
Oh, man, we've had a lot of rain.
My woods was flooded back there, dude. I actually went out there and was creating rivers.
Turkey Woods a little damp.
Oh, I was out last Monday and Tuesday, and it wasn't.
Thanks for the coffee, by the way.
You're welcome. Last Monday and Tuesday I was out scouting, and then the rest of the week it was raining.
Okay.
Every night when I got home after dinner, it was raining. I wasn't gonna go out, and then there was water on Tuesday out in the woods, so I plan on going out probably tomorrow night, and especially with this week, it's supposed to be warm all week.
Are we not getting rain again tomorrow?
I don't know, but it's supposed to be 60s all week, I think, after this little warm spell. But there is so much water out there, dude. It is like...
You got to get out and scout for turkey. Your season starts Monday.
Starts a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that... all that water out there is just kind of... I got to go check a couple of spots because I want to make sure there's no obstructions for water.
Yeah, you don't want them turkeys hanging up on you. We've seen that before.
Yeah, I was out there and I was looking. I was like, wow, there's a lot of water out there.
Okay, tomorrow. Warm with periods of clouds and sun. A passing shower in the afternoon.
Passing shower I can handle.
67 degrees, so.
Last week was just hours upon hours.
Tuesday, Wednesday supposed to be pretty decent. Thursday, cloudy with a couple of showers. Saturday, a couple of showers. Next Monday is looking, for the opener, is looking 45 and cloudy, so you got a couple showers coming. That's not so bad as what we've had. The wind's been blowing. We're starting to dry the ground out just a little bit.
Water's receding.
We've had flash floods around here, so yeah. Animals are up on the high ground right now. I feel behind the house full of deer today.
Yeah, they're going for the high ground, that's for sure. So. But yeah, no, we're ready for that and ready for tonight's show.
Ready to get it going?
I'm ready.
Well, we do have an announcement to make, and if y'all have been paying attention back here in the background, scrolling in the background, we've had something added, and we would like to make this announcement that we are glad to have Fourth Arrow Archery camera arms, and wind check grenades here. We've talked about the wind grenades here before.
We interviewed them at the ATA show, and we have the video up on our webpage.
Yep.
And they've got the grenade, they've got the base that's got the remote control.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Little scent dispersal type system. It's really inexpensive. Something you can put in your pack. Check your wind width. I mean, if you here for those watching on the show right now, you can see the smoke coming up, and it'll check wind direction. You can get it in pine, you can get it in deer scent, you can get it in apple, you can get all different scents and smells. So, just
comes in doe estrus for deer hunting and
just
apple. And
another little way to maximize your game out in the woods.
Right. They've partnered with us for this year, and we're going to be using some of their wind scent stuff and then their camera arm.
Camera arms, got one of the camera arms here, carbon fiber with the base, the ratchet style base system, which this fits to. What I like about this whole system, number one, this thing's light. I mean,
how light that is.
You put that in your pack, man, and it's ultra light. You take that and you take this right here with it, and you have your bases. You can have multiple bases in different tree stands, so that way you're not ratcheting a base on for your camera and getting up and down and all that. This way you just snap this on real quietly, slide this little sleeve in, and if you want to lock it down, you lock it down, and boom, you're ready to go. So
there's a level on that and everything, isn't there?
Yep, you can. It's got a level system on it. Makes it really easy to level, so you don't have to worry about what kind of angle you've got on the tree or the limb you're going to attach it to.
And the tool is connected right to it
to tighten it down. So we would like to thank Fourth Arrow Archery for supplying us with camera arm and one of their booms this year as well for action cameras.
Yeah.
That system there screws right into a tree.
Right.
And you can extend it out, put your action camera on the end, and use it to take shots, either back at yourself for a cutaway shot, or if you want to have it down, pointed down on top of the ground, if you got something you're trying to get down below you. Turkey hunting, we're going to use it turkey hunting next week.
Right, exactly.
So for a second angle. So a couple little cool products that we've got from Fourth Arrow Archery camera arms and wind scent grenade.
So welcome aboard. And right there. Oh, they're gone.
That quick.
Yeah.
So, make sure you give them a check. Go over, check their website, fourtharrowarchery.com, and take a look at some of the great products.
Yeah, great product. Michigan company.
Absolutely.
So we talked with them at ATA. We've seen them at a few different shows in the area. So, welcome aboard. We're going to have a good year with them.
Talking about the year coming up, I talked with Mara this week. Cody is ramping up for his bass tournament season.
Oh, see, they get their deer mounts back, and we talked to her.
I know it, right? What's up with that?
I know. What's up with that?
Nice looking mounts, though.
They were, absolutely.
Two nice Ohio bucks.
So I wonder whose wall they went on.
I don't know. We'll have to ask.
Yeah.
But he's ramping up for his bass tournament season. I know he is loading his calendar up right now for tournament action. So I don't know. I'm hoping to hear something out of him as season progresses like we did last year.
Yeah, we'll give him a shout and get him on board and figure out what's going on and make sure he's up and ready to go.
Something else that they told me that they're getting into is he shot a few traditional archery tournaments last year.
Right, he makes his own recurve too.
Right. So with that being said, Mara is going to get into the game as well. They're going to do some traditional archery tournaments, and they are going to be using the Black Eagle new vintage arrows this year in those tournaments. This looks like a wood grain arrow for those that are here on the live stream. It's a fully crested
with veins.
Yep. It's these feathers here are awesome. Actually, this is feathers. This is not veins. These are fully crusted, and this is a carbon arrow. It's not wood, but it looks like it. So
yeah, it's pretty cool. A vintage style with modern technology.
Absolutely. They're going to be using this year in the tournament.
Hand crested on all those, by the way.
Yep. So we'll look for those from them. Hopefully they have a good season.
And with the backing of Black Eagle, you're right. Hope she shoots the lights out.
And you're starting your hunt next week.
Yeah, we're starting turkey season in Michigan. They're running rampant all over the country, starting their seasons everywhere, from Florida to Dakotas. Congratulations to Amanda Pop. See, she popped one today.
She did.
She did out in South Dakota.
Somebody else did. You said, was it Anna Mitterling? Did she shoot one? Did you say it was her?
No, it was Amanda.
Amanda Pop. Okay, I just got the names mixed up.
Right.
So, where was she hunting at? Nebraska?
Dakotas, South Dakota.
Very nice. So
yeah,
birds are going down, and hopefully bird goes down next Monday.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. But and this warm spell is perfect timing.
I haven't asked you yet.
No, you haven't.
Shotgun?
Yep.
Archery?
Shotgun.
Okay. All right.
I guess I could pull out the bow.
Well, I just wondered.
I might.
I got you thinking.
Well, with it being warm this week, I might be able to get in the backyard and not sink.
Right.
My target, I don't think. Oh, target's dry.
Well, I'll tell you what. We're not quite halfway through this segment, but I tell you what, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So let's take our first break early. We'll come back.
Yep.
We talk about some things that happened last night.
Yeah, we had a great time last night.
All right. I know we got some people that were quite asking some questions about what went on up there at the show we were at. So we're going to step outside. We'll take our first break. We come back. We're going to talk about the
summit,
the Deer Summit, the Michigan Deer Hunters Let 'em Go, Let 'em Grow 2017 Deer Summit. So we're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Throughout human history, one notorious killer has remained at the top and claimed more lives than any war or natural disaster combined. Mosquitoes. It's time to arm yourself and protect your family this season with Scent Blocker's new Bug Blocker for insects. Lasting up to 8 hours, Bug Blocker not only repels biting mosquitoes that can carry the West Nile virus, but other biting insects, including chiggers, biting flies, gnats, and ticks which can carry Lyme disease. Field tested by outfitters and guides from Alaska to Alabama and everywhere in between. The results are in, and Bug Blocker flat out works. In a high-potency sportsman strength dosage, using 25% no-nonsense DEET, plus 2 specific ingredients to target biting flies, Bug Blocker plays for keeps. For ultimate protection, pair Bug Blocker insects with Bug Blocker ticks.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show, everybody. Right before we went to break, we're talking about the Deer Summit. And Danny, you were there with us last night.
Was that a great time had by all?
It was a great time had by us, I know. I don't know about all. I assume everybody had a
I
good time.
don't think so. I didn't hear no... If there would be one criticism about the entire event, is, and this is no fault of anybody, is that they had us packed in there pretty good.
It was tight. Yeah, it was a little tight in there.
It was a little tight. But you know what?
But we got cozy.
Yeah, we did get cozy. There was 250 people, plus the vendors, and they had those people even outside.
Right.
They had them in the main hallway. And
Yeah, I was up at the Buck Run Golf and Country Club in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
yeah, and...
Beautiful place.
Oh, yeah. Makes me want to get out the clubs. But last night was the second annual, because this is a very important time, the next 3 months. We're going to be going, and they're going to be going. We're going to follow along.
Right.
But yeah, last night it was exciting. It was 250 people getting together, talking what do we want to go after, and having some speakers talk to us and say, this is why we need to go after APRs.
Right, right.
And the science behind it. It just wasn't two guys up there just off the top of their head and preaching.
No, actually, the science that the guy had, was it Jim Bruckner, who works with the state of Michigan. That guy, his credentials, the list was a mile long.
Oh, yeah, when he was reading the credentials from Stanford and Central Michigan and the doctorates and where he was at, and I can't even pronounce some of the stuff that he's...
Yeah.
Oh, and 250...
Over 250 patents.
Pending.
Yeah, pending. And he's got over 200 that he actually has. It is just incredible. The guy has got some smarts.
He's definitely a smarts kind of guy, a science-based kind of guy, that when he talked, he just didn't talk off the top of his head. He had numbers to support. He had models, and he explained that the models are only as good as you make them, and he goes, and you can also skew them the way you want, too, by pulling the certain levers. And but it was one of those things, if you listen to it, it almost really, it comes down to, all you got to do is sit back and think. Learn a little bit about the species. Figure out how they roll. And what he says makes sense.
It does. It does. A lot of this makes sense. I mean, we've talked about this on the show numerous times here in the last 5 years. For me, it all started back with Dr. James Kroll up at the Turtle Lake camp up there when they were doing the deer necropsies. We've talked about it many times here. Of people that don't understand what we're mentioning right now is this camp, they get with the DNR in February, and they do a pretty big deer cull. They go through and they shoot does.
Yep, they they go out with high-powered rifles. They take care of them. They bring in X amount.
Yeah, they have a target number every year of what they know what their population is, roughly, by doing trail cam surveys, other types of surveys. Things they've seen in the field, and they get with the biologists, say, okay, we need to take this many deer this year, this many does, and it's keeping that buck to doe ratio, in check for population control, and they do a pretty doggone good job. when they bring these deer in, then they do the deer necropsy on them, and they find out the health of the deer at the time of what kind of stress is on the herd at that time of the year. Find out if there's any problems going on. This year, I was talking with Wayne Sitton last night. He was sitting next to me at the table.
We were sitting in the right table.
We were sitting at the right table.
We were
last
sitting
night.
at the front table.
Yeah. So, but Wayne is the manager of Turtle Lake, and I said, okay, I know you guys shot. I don't remember, it was a little over 200 doe this year. From that, it may have been more. I don't remember the exact number. There's quite a few. You got to remember that this camp is 26,000 acres.
Right. This ain't no small camp.
This isn't like your back 40. So
is this the only camp Wayne manages?
I would assume so.
Okay.
I don't know
I was
that.
going to ask you that.
I don't know that, but we talked about several things last night while we were eating dinner, and I said, out of the deer necropsy this year, what was the one thing that you got out of this year? Are you seeing anything different?
Anything jump out at him?
Yeah, I've been to 3 or 4 of them, and he said, yeah, this year we had a lot of pneumonia in the deer.
Pneumonia?
Yeah, and I said, he says about a 25% increase. And I said, was that due to the wet cold winter? It wasn't extremely cold, but it was really wet. We had a lot of rain. It didn't get a lot of extremely cold temperatures.
Okay.
Not a ton of snow where we had these sub-freezing temperatures for a long extended period of time. Remember, it just kind of rock and rolled all year long. With that being said, he said, yeah, we had a lot of pneumonia in the deer, and 25% of them they come in, or 25% increase, excuse me, in what they saw.
I didn't know deer could get pneumonia.
I didn't either. Learned something new. You open your mind a little bit, you learn things.
Right, exactly.
You just pay attention and listen. You listen. You take all this information in, and you start gleaning certain things from it, and you listen to different people from different sides of the aisle, and kind of put your own plan together, so to speek.
Well,
I'm going somewhere with this. Just follow me later on.
yeah. Just stay tuned, folks.
But
you know what? It was one of those things. That Turtle Lake Club up there with 26,000 acres, and in the PowerPoint presentation, he used their numbers that they got, and showed that the age of their bucks they took increased.
Yep.
They took a lot of does, but the bucks that they did take were older.
3.5 years and older.
Yep,
that was
exactly.
that was their target age that they were after. Shot 55 bucks this year, I think they said.
50. That sounds about right. 55 bucks, 200 does, and he said they shot does.
Shot does. Yep.
The no button bucks were taken because
selective selecting the right doe, having the education in your head, and knowing what to shoot and what not to shoot.
Right, exactly.
Knowing what to look for.
What to shoot, and so they're educated hunters going after what they need to do.
Right.
And his son was with him and took home a nice prize.
Yeah, he won a nice muzzleloader last night too.
Yeah, I think he was a little shocked.
Yeah. That was cool though.
It was because he was in the he's a sheriff.
He's law enforcement. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did a tribute to law enforcement and EMTs, police, fire, and military. They had a special little giveaway for them.
Exactly. So that was really cool. And he went and gave Jim gave his speech and gave us the facts behind why we should go after does, why we should go after APRs, and why we shouldn't go in the DNR, not us, but why the DNR should not relax when they run into a diseased area.
Right. Using APRs and doe management to control disease.
Right.
And they showed the information of other states that are doing this and how they're controlling it. They showed some states that actually backed off on doe harvest.
Missouri. They had 2 areas where CWD was indicated, and they kind of went in that circle of where it was and then relaxed APRs. Yeah. And it really didn't help.
No, not at all.
And all this we're talking about now, before we go any further, I think we should give a big shout out to Lincoln Roan.
Absolutely. Lincoln, we had him on the show here a couple weeks ago, who actually put this presentation on, and he's made this big push for the Michigan deer hunters, let them go, let them grow, and is the driving force behind APRs right now in Michigan and trying to get the Natural Resource Commission to make some changes here in Michigan and push APRs across the state. There's a lot. There's people on both sides of this. And actually today I got into it with somebody online.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and it's still ongoing, actually.
Right.
I'm just to the point where I'm just about done. But the point is, that's why I said you got to look at both sides. Look at both sides. Don't ever take something that somebody says. Don't take what we say for granted and say, well, that they said it's got to be right. No, do your own research. But the thing is, when you do, look at the other side.
Right. Exactly. You know what? And with Lincoln Roan, you know what? His area that he hunts isn't even in the Northwest 12, they're called, that does have APRs in the state.
Right.
He's coming from an area that doesn't do it, but they've been practicing it. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of working out for him, like he said on the show. But he must have put in some tireless hours into getting this summit to go off last night without a hitch.
Absolutely. And you can tell the passion he has. I mean, he got emotional a couple times.
Yes, he did.
During some of the presentations and some of the things that were said. This guy wears deer hunting on his sleeve.
Yes, he does.
Like most of us do. I mean, we're all passionate about it, almost to a fault at times.
Right, exactly. And, definitely he's got the passion for it, and he is in the final 3-month push of his passion and bringing along 21,000 other people on Facebook that are with him to try to get Michigan to do something about it. It's got to happen this year. It's going to be another 3 years.
3 years, yeah. Yep, so.
But that was awesome, sitting with Wayne, his son, and just one other guy that was just kind of the speaker of the show there. And
oh, you mean Kip?
Yeah, just Kip Adams.
Yeah, Kip Adams was their keynote speaker there from QDMA, the national QDMA organization.
He's in charge of the education outreach programs at there, and he is.
And we're going to have him on the show.
I got to sit next to him.
You did. You had dinner with him.
Yeah, I had dinner with him, and we got to talking, and look for him to be on a show here real soon. Get a hold of him and let us get through Easter, and we'll get him on here, and we'll get his point of view and his side. He's interesting because he's from Pennsylvania, but he worked for 12 years out in the New England states.
Yep.
And if you listen to the presentation that we listened to, it's a different animal out there.
It is.
And what the premise was about the trespassing.
Right. Yeah. I mentioned to him about we talked with Jay Scott from Big Buck Registry podcast, and him and I were talking about the hunting styles from out there versus here in Michigan, and we got talking about trespass. And it blew my mind that there's no trespass laws out there.
No, you can basically walk from one end of the state to the other, and nobody's going to get mad at you.
Yeah, that's just it.
And if you do say something, you get
looked at like you're crazy. So,
that was the funny part.
Yeah,
he goes, "Yeah, if you say something, they're going to look at you like you're crazy."
Kind of like what we look at people when they walk on our land here.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Opposite. Yeah. What are you doing, right?
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting to see the different dynamics. And he even talked about the different hunting styles, but also the different amount of hunting pressure and the different things that work in different states. He says you can't apply something here in Michigan to work in this state and apply it in another state out east or maybe even out west. Shooting does, for instance.
Right.
Where we have a big population boom that we're trying to control right now, there's reason to shoot does. There might be a place, for example, up in your area of the woods, in the UP, where they don't allow doe harvest because the numbers are down.
The numbers are down.
You wouldn't think about shooting a doe. Well, now I know there's micromanaging different areas, and you've got an overabundance where you're at, but generally speaking, discussion I had today online talking about, well, I want to shoot all the does. No, we want to shoot the right amount of does.
Right.
We want to selectively shoot the correct does.
It wasn't a blanket comment that you want to shoot. The person said you want to shoot all the does.
Yeah, no.
Well, no. Educate yourself. No, that's not what you do.
No.
And speaking about that, the does up where I'm at, Forrester sent me an email, just a quick update. Logging's still going on. He's working 5 different sites right now, and our site is the only one that he's seeing deer at.
Ah.
And he saw over. I think he questioned. He goes, I don't know. It's weird, but your place is the only place we're seeing deer.
You got a pocket, like you had said. You've been saying all year. This last year, you've got a high concentration of does in that area. But you can't shoot in it. You can't manage that area.
So it's just kind of proof in my pudding that, it's like, but there's other places where they're not seeing any. Mm-hmm. So, but definitely it was nice because Jim, the first speaker, he talked about Michigan, and then Kip kind of put it into a national perspective.
And where Michigan sat in that national picture.
Yes.
And why certain things in one spot don't work in another spot regionally, you know.
And isn't it interesting to see how many hunters we have per square mile?
I knew we had a lot. I thought we were number one, but Pennsylvania actually has more hunters per square mile than Michigan does. So.
But yet, when they go to figure out the numbers, they kind of fix it. So, on average, the Midwest has 6 hunters per square mile, which is exactly the same as the South.
Yeah, but Michigan has 14 hunters per square mile.
Right.
On average.
And Michigan is now the second number of QDM members.
Right. Yep.
So we're into it.
Yeah, you know, and it is starting to take off here in Michigan. Like I said, 5 years ago, you wouldn't have thought I believed in any of this stuff. And at that point, I really didn't. I didn't understand any of the science behind it. And I didn't start educating myself. You know, I opened my mind to look at different possibilities. It's like, okay, why can't we have big deer here in Michigan? What, you know, at our camp that I hunt at, our 640 acres, I've just seen the numbers dwindle. The size of the buck's getting smaller. What are we doing here? You know, it's a combination of things. This is what I found out. But ultimately, I really do feel that the baiting issue was a big thing that really turned it around for Michigan and started us in that downward trend with a lot of different factors. We got TB up there now in our area. You know, we've got a lot of deer in our area. Although that area doesn't have, we're not centrally located in a lot of ag land.
See,
but we've just got a lot of deer. We're getting overbrowsed.
And see one of the things that was said was to kind of put it in perspective. When Michigan started, it was in the 1920s.
1921, I believe.
21
before they started trying to increase the amount of deer in the state.
1921 is when they had 45,000 deer in the state.
Can you believe that?
I know, amazing, huh?
45,000 deer.
We
shoot more than that now.
I know. And they came up with a formula to figure out how to bring up the population. Now,
2 million.
We got the population back.
Yeah, too many.
Now we got to figure out how to manage them, and we have to change how we manage.
Right.
You can't do the old way. I hate to say it, but change is good.
Yep.
I totally understand it. It's just you got to go and change the way we're thinking. And to do that, in our case, we have to change the way the DNR is thinking.
That's going to be the tough part.
And
the DNR was there last night.
The DNR was there. The MUCC guys were there, who helps fight for us, for that kind of stuff. And they had a whole bunch of other people there that it just wasn't the you and I, the hunters were there. There was some organizations there that, well, first of all, DNR, right in their face, with QDMA being there, and everything given information to them. June will know.
I think we're headed in the right direction with this. And actually, with the DNR being there, without saying it, without them saying it, I think they were there in a supporting role.
I thought about that because Anna Mitterling, who was there, who I didn't get to talk to, she's on the board of QDMA. And I find that interesting, but good. So you know where she's coming from, because she's in charge of all the co-ops.
Right.
And so you're right. I think they were there in a supporting role. And we'll see. They're going to have a few NRC Thursday meetings before May. So there's going to need to be a big turnout for that. They stream those live on Facebook, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I know they're during the day when
I've got an alert when they pop up. I'm always trying to watch them.
Yeah.
I'm at work too by the time they hit, but I always try to watch it.
Lincoln was kind of having a call to action.
Yep.
To get as many people there.
Circle the wagons.
And talk to them, because they got to talk to them by May, because I think May is the 30 days they put it out all on the table. And I think June is when they go ahead and vote. So a lot of great information from Kip. It was fun to see the bow hunting question. The state with the most bow hunting.
Most bow hunting kills.
Right.
Was it the most bow hunting? The most percentage wise?
Yes, percentage wise, bow hunting kills.
The most deer killed percentage wise with bows.
Right.
And for those of you who would think, okay, Iowa, Colorado, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, no, none of them. It was New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey.
Don't shoot the bear in New Jersey.
Right. Go figure.
Yeah.
But
he said that has something to play with it. Their gun laws, their hunting seasons, and more time in the field. But and second was Maryland.
Right.
Which is a surprising state that they had a couple of things ranked up there that Maryland was there.
Yeah, it's some of those things. Once again, start looking to other places, looking how somebody else does something, whether it's the way they manage their property, whether it's the way they hunt, whether it's a hunting style. I'm always looking and trying to get information. I'm always trying to enlighten myself to something that works better. Maybe to make me a better hunter, maybe to make me a better conservationist. That's what we're in this for, because we care about it.
And
we're passionate about it.
And then, they talked about that, and you were thinking Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, and here it is, New Jersey and Maryland.
Right.
And on the low end of bow hunting was out west.
Right. Like you said, and rightfully so, because whitetails are mainly in the Midwest, the South, and the Northeast.
Right.
That's their range, pretty much.
Yep. And it was good to see that the Arkansas, New York, coming up with their slogans and programs that they're helping, letting them go, letting them grow type thing.
Yep. And having good success with their hunter numbers, also good success with killing older bucks. Keeping populations in check, things of that nature. One thing I would like to say, though, that I saw last night that I did not know, found out something new, that I've often thought about. And this question's come up before people I've talked to. It's like, okay, so you get APRs, 3-point, or 3 on one side or 4 on one side. So you're talking a 6-point or 8-point, a 1.5-year-old buck. Well, if you're doing APRs and you get a 6-point or 8-point, somebody's still going to smoke it. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's probably going to happen. But maybe, we need to start looking at spread as well.
That was...
Kentucky does that. And I did not know that. There's 4 states that use spread as well.
That was one of the statistics they had there was 10 other states that use something in conjunction with APRs, whether it be spread or what was the other factor? There was spread and I think length of the beam.
Length of the beam, yeah.
And... So you talk about needing to really educate yourself.
Right. Slow down and really understand what you're shooting.
Right. Typically 16 inches ear to ear, and I don't know what the numbers are for those states, but so Kentucky does do that.
Yeah, it's in conjunction, APRs plus spread. So it's more than just one dynamic. And looking at that, that's where you get into that 2.5-year-old age class buck. It gets them into their second birthday. It starts promoting those deer into becoming older and getting older bucks. And that's one thing I've tried to advocate at our camp, talking with some of the guys. Not so much. I don't advocate so much antler size or antler spread. I look at body structure. It's like educate yourself, understand the difference between a 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5-year-old buck. Understand the characteristics that they throw, that you see when that deer's in the field. And that forces you to take time to stop and really look and study the animal, and before just going, oh, brown antlers, boom, pulling trigger. Yeah,
Well, that's the education part, right? Learning.
Speaking of education, when we did our doe, we had the kids up from Backwater Legacy this year to help us with our doe harvest. We brought 3 kids up from down there and said, okay, we're going to shoot does. But we set them down, and we had the QDMA little poster that showed
the
big poster,
the body poster.
Yeah, that showed the difference between what a button buck was and a mature doe. I mean, being able to understand the difference in the body types and the characteristics of what you're looking for, and even between a buck fawn and a doe fawn, and learning what to look for. And one of the guys said, I was so nervous out there. He said, I studied it, and he took a picture of it, put it on his phone, and before he let the kid pull the trigger, he's looking at it to make sure. He's educating himself.
That was actually from one of the guys that
you
had with each shooter had a guide, and it was up to them to help determine what or if they could shoot. And that's what he said. And we had him on the show, and that was the most nerve-wracking thing for the guy because... you don't want...
He wasn't used to that, but he learned it.
he's not used to it, and plus you're a guest somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's one thing you don't want to do is mess up.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that. But yeah, it's
But mistakes do happen.
absolutely. Your first rule of thumb is mistakes are going to happen. If it happens, it happens. So be it. They ended up doing okay.
Yep. Just be willing to be educated.
But exactly, and with Kip Adams giving that speech and just confirming on a national broad spectrum of what's going on, you know, it's almost one of those things. It's easy to say it's time. We just got to get the DNR on board. Because really, truthfully, up in the UP where I'm at, I've been practicing it for years.
Right.
You know, I get the dual tag, and I can't shoot anything less 3 on one side and 4 on the other. So it's like I already, you know, I've seen my numbers of spikes, 3s, 4s. You know, 5 point goes by though, we can shoot it.
Right.
And it's just one of those. I've already been practicing it, so it's okay. Just let me shoot some does.
I'll tell you what. Hang on to your thought there. We're talking about tags and things and shooting does and bucks. We're going to step outside, take our next break here. When we come back, I got a question for you I want to ask you.
All right.
All right. We'll be right back
And then I
after
got a
this.
question for you.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll be right back after this.
So what do you do when you've completely redefined the way bows are engineered? When you've reached the pinnacle and the band starts playing your victory song, you start a revolution out of thin air. Introducing the all-new PSE Carbon Air, engineered with true carbon technology to be the lightest high-performance bow in the world. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Killer Food Plots have been helping property owners for over 20 years create premier whitetail habitat. Whether replenishing your soil with their all-natural Organics Fusion pellets or planting a premier KFP food plot seed blend to help your deer rebuild their bodies through spring and summer while supplying the much-needed high energy during and after the rut, you can trust that Killer Food Plots family and their products will help your deer achieve their full potential.
Welcome back. Third segment of the show. My question to you.
Hold on. Before we go there,
You got a question?
we got a question from Jason Radecki,
Hey, Jason. What's going on,
our
man?
Luzerne resident.
From
up in-
Luzerne,
up in
yes.
Michigan.
I got a question for Jason while you're on and you're watching.
Let's first ask his question.
Ask his question before I reply. I'm going to ask him one in response.
Okay. Yeah, he needs to know the whereabouts for smelt.
Ha, not in Michigan. Wow. That-
It used to be really good.
Yeah, you know, the last time I even heard the term smelt mentioned was back about 4 or 5 years ago, and they were ice fishing for them
I've seen that.
in Higgins Lake, I believe.
So now we got no ice, and I don't know. I know there's a few streams in the UP,
Warm April rains set them off.
right? And I know.
I don't know.
I don't know either because they used to go down on the river in
St. Mary's. I remember dipping when I was in college.
Did you dip for them?
Yeah, in college.
And
Yeah, we did a few.
I
other
don't
things
even
that
know
I
if that's
think
true
as well.
And also,
Yeah, off the break wall.
Jason Radecki said go to the grocery store.
Okay, there you go.
When in doubt. Dean Smith Jr. Hey, fellas, it was nice to see you at the summit last night.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Pleasure was ours, believe me. It was a good time.
So, Jason, if you're going to go to the store and get some, are you going to be inviting us for a smelt dinner?
Right on. My question for Jason is, do you live or hunt in the TB zone? Luzerne's right there real close. Are you in a no-bait zone or are you in a bait zone where you can bait? I'm just wondering.
Answer that, Jason.
When you get time.
Type.
My question to you.
My
Danny,
question to me. Okay.
talking about shooting does, shooting bucks, APRs, all this stuff. One of the things that some people are advocating is a 1 buck limit. We got a 2 buck limit right now, depending on how you buy your tag in Michigan. If we were to go to a 1 buck limit, would you be willing to do that and pay twice as much for your hunting tag to go to a 1 buck limit?
Can I shoot does?
If your area allows it, that's the problem.
Yes. That okay.
For you, not for me.
For me, that's my problem. I would love to say, hey, I'll shoot 1 buck. Mm-hmm. but you let me shoot a doe or two because
You're covered up in them,
I'm covered up in them.
even though you're in the UP.
I got.
You got to be in a deer yard. You got to be in a natural deer
We're
yard.
on the zone. We're on the edge of one.
Okay. With that being said, how's this logging project you're doing going to affect that?
Well, we're gonna find out. So it's only gonna get better.
So maybe it's going to get more. I don't know. Just,
Okay. So with that being said, right? Okay. So what? Yes, I could go to $1 rule. I'm okay with that.
There was a little bit of talk about this last night at the event, and I don't know if you heard that or not. But that was the question. Would Michigan hunters be willing to pay more for their kill tag if there's a $1 limit? Because what's going to happen?
What's your answer?
Yeah, Michigan's still one of the cheapest states to hunt in.
See,
Why wouldn't I?
Because it's the same thing. What happened when they did the park sticker on your license plate?
People went crazy.
I know.
They lost their ever-loving minds.
They did, and I never heard somebody complaining about something that cost less than a
I heard
$1 a month.
I heard somebody a couple weeks ago complaining about it, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I used to pay $22 per vehicle to get into a state park. Number one, that's for my year pass, and if I wanted to go to a state boat launch, that was another $22.
So 44.
$44 per vehicle, and now you tell me I can have it for $11, and I just do it when I renew my tag on my car. It's a no-brainer. Come on. And actually, they're raising more money now than they ever were with this, even though it's cheap.
Okay, so with that being said, I think it's $6 is a daily, right?
Yes.
I've been to the park scouting now twice. I've been there once to walk the dogs, so that's $18 right there.
Yeah.
I've already paid for one of my vehicles,
Yeah.
and I'm working on the next vehicle.
I've got it on all mine. Whether I go or not and pay for all of them, it doesn't matter because I'm giving back to the state park system. It's something that we use. Why would I not want to give them money to help them out?
And they've raised a ton of money. Question from Dean Smith. What can I help you with about the TB zone? I own 40 acres there and have hunted the area for 30 years.
Oh, we were just asking Jason. He lives in Luzerne, and I was just wondering where he was at in relationship. Basically,
so if Dean is in the TB zone, then he's in the no bait zone.
Yeah, right. So, Dean, what county do you hunt? I hunt up in Alcona County. The question, basically, what we're kind of getting on the whole subject, and we're kind of leading the show tonight, talking about is a discussion I got onto on Facebook with somebody coming over poo-pooing a lot about QDMA, number one. That was the big thing, and food plots about that it was just we were just doing bad things, horrible things, But I'm of the mindset of okay, if you don't believe in what we're trying to do, what's the alternative?
Right.
What do you propose that the state of Michigan does to curb deer populations and disease? There's got to be an equal playing field for all of us to play in. And I'm open-minded to listen to other sides of the equation, but the problem was I was getting nothing in response back.
Okay, so you want the answer from Jason?
Yeah.
No, he's in the no baiting zone.
Okay.
But all the private land folks bait. I watch them hauling it by the bag and by the truckload, and I'm sure folks are doing it as well on state land. I don't.
Okay.
That's probably why I only see one deer last season and was on the national forest between two private properties.
We run into a lot of that problem in our area as well.
See, that's the kicker. That's the kicker about the no baiting zone.
Yeah.
You can still sell it.
Ban it statewide. Just be done with it.
You got to stop the sale of it.
Well, that too. But the issue is, I'm going to venture to say, this is just a guess, but I'm going to say most of the people who probably do use bait, I'm going to say and use it illegally. Let's clarify that. Use it up in the no baiting zone. The people who do that, I'm going to say are probably older hunters.
Dean Smith, East Alcona County, Greenbush Township.
Oh, he's not far from me. Yeah, I'm over in Mitchell Township, so that's the other side of the county, just off M65. So,
okay, so
yeah.
you guys are in approximately the same county.
Yeah, we're close by. So, but that's an issue that's hard to deal with. We know at our club, at our hunting camp, we know exactly when the surrounding landowners start baiting. Deer leave our food plots.
See, and we just talked about this a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's reversed because you guys have the food plots.
We're the only ones in the area that have them.
So you can tell when other places get them.
Yep. Yeah.
Temporarily.
Yep.
They split and
Yep.
drag all the deer to the other spot, right?
Yeah. You know what? And getting them off of our property, that's one thing. But the problem is it's illegal. You know?
Right.
And that I really truly think that's what's caused a lot of these problems in the state of Michigan.
Absolutely.
So-
And Jason is in Oscoda County.
Okay. All right.
So, so going back to answer your question, $1 limit, yes, but let me shoot some does.
Here's the interesting thing about the $1.
Let me help manage the herd to be a healthy herd.
The state of Michigan has told us, selling all these tags, generally speaking, that only 4% of the hunters across the state of Michigan shoot $2. So is going to a $1 limit going to substantially change the outlook in this state?
That's funny you said 4%, because wasn't that the number Kip said that also nationwide about 4% of hunters just don't hunt that year? Remember he had that?
Yeah.
And that's kind of you say
Maybe
that.
6 months.
So here we are, we're offering 2 tags, and only 4% use both tags.
Fill both tags on a buck.
So $1 and let me shoot a doe. Mm-hmm. Give me.
You're just going to have to hunt in another spot.
No, I was told of some ideas to go talk with my local biologist.
Do some micromanaging in the area.
Right. So
See, that's my fear now. Okay, you've told us that you've got a lot of doe in your area, even though you can't shoot any, but you've got a local population that's kind of askew, and you can't manage it. So now you've went in, you've harvested timber, and you're going to have all this new growth, this new vegetation that's going to be robust, and that's going to draw more in.
I know. Yeah, I know. So, this is a good opportunity to maybe invite the biologist out. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, look what I got here.
Looking at that, I know landowners around you, dialogue is a problem. You've said in the past
Yes.
with a few of them. Do you think that said landowners around you harvest doe, or when they can't harvest does? In the past, do you think they were doe shooters?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't think like they said last night, what is Michigan hunters like? Mm-hmm. Their horns, right? Mm-hmm. Their antlers. Mm-hmm. And yes, they shot the spikes. Mm-hmm. And it's just like...
Brown it's down.
Basically, it's brown it's down. Has some taken does? I'm sure they have. So if we could get it to a point where we could get better doe management and maybe carve out our little area and bring it up and healthy, and I don't have the over browsing if there is any. But like you said, in 2 years, it could be a huge problem. Mm-hmm. Which I'm creating a magnet, and we already talked about your property, and I already got it bad enough with coyotes, bears, and wolves. Mm-hmm. It's only going to get better.
Right.
So
You got to be more progressive again, in your management as far as being able to, maybe keep predators in check, whether it be coyotes. Wolves you can't do nothing with, obviously.
yeah,
Have you ever thought about bear hunting up there?
yes.
What we got?
Okay.
Got another question.
Dean Smith, the issue with OBR, with one respect, is this. If you restrict guys to one tag, when that tag is filled, he or she will likely be done for the season,
It won't shoot a doe.
which could further our issue with not killing appropriate numbers of does, as Kip spoke on last night.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
I got my deer, I'm done. In this state, at least I remember back when I was growing up, everybody, November, and it's still this way to an extent, November 15th is Christmas with guns. You've heard me say this.
It is.
We're heading north. They'd shut the factories down for a week, and everybody would go north for that 5, 6, 7 days.
And I think,
They'd shoot their deer. My dad was part of this. He'd shoot his buck, kick back for a couple extra days at camp, hang out, load up, head home. There was no hunting over the long haul of the season until I got to be, probably right at the end of high school, maybe in my 20s. Then my dad picked up bow hunting. There was a point in time when it tipped over, and he's like, "Hey, we can maximize our hunting time. We can go up in October. We can do some bow hunting." and I don't know if it's because of me. I don't know if it's because of work. I don't know what the issues were that made that change. But you know, you got to remember back then that was the big thing. It wasn't nobody bow hunted back then.
Well, see, okay, so
What they do now.
Let's go there, right?
Okay.
$1 limit.
Well, that put us
Okay.
back into that.
I'm because I want to go to deer camp. I want to go hunting. I will go shoot my $1. And maybe it is in October. Okay, I got lucky.
Yep.
The one I was after, the one I shot what I was after. Whatever.
Okay, if
But
that
now-
happened, what do you do now?
But now, if I can shoot a doe, when I go back up in November for deer season, I'm back at camp where I want to be. And I can at least go out. Pressure's off now. But I can go out and be selective at my doe shooting. You know, I can take my time.
Not in UP, you can't.
But
Not right now.
this is with a preference that I can shoot does.
Right.
But if I can't, I'll just be more selective. And if maybe in October I don't shoot that buck. You know, depending on the situation, maybe I say, let it go.
You know, I, frankly speaking, I have never shot 2 bucks in the same season. Ever. It's not for lack of trying. It's just I haven't done it. But what I've done in the past 5-6 years, like I said, since I've started coming more to this educational side of things and really trying to understand herd dynamics in what it takes to manage a herd, what it takes to keep, you know, population in check, keeping disease in check. I've used archery season. If I have an opportunity to shoot an older buck, I do. But if not, you know, first doe that walks out that's an older doe, it's game on.
Right.
Same thing in rifle season. This year, first day I was up, I didn't get to hunt the first 4 days of rifle season. And my week of archery season was pretty much a rain out. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And so when we got to rifle season, I had no meat in the freezer. And that first morning I was out, which I think was the 4th day of season, maybe the 5th day of season, 4 does come out. You know, there was 2 of them that were year and a half old does. There was another one that was a doe fawn. And then there was the older one. She's probably 2.5, 3.5-year-old doe. It's like, okay, bang. I got meat in the freezer, you know.
There you go. And see, for me, okay, so for me, I can't shoot no does. I guess I would handle my $1 limit, not shooting any does. I'd try in October. I'd be more selective, so I could go back up in November. And if I did get one in October, I'd probably still go back up in November just to have the... that way I can help out in camp. I can, you know...
There's more to deer camp than hunting.
I can help another guy. I can go out
Bingo.
with them. I can
Go out with somebody that's elderly in the camp and help them.
I can do things around the camp that needs to be done that we haven't gotten
Right on.
to.
Absolutely.
You know, it's one of those things that it's just going to camp in October, November is just golden. Whether I'm up there throwing sticks in a bonfire, drinking coffee,
Yep, absolutely.
or I'm out in the woods hunting.
Absolutely.
From one to the other, it's just one of those things that when you're just up there, it's golden time. I mean, I cherish those moments I had with my dad. Just standing. I've shot 2 bucks in 1 year twice. The last time I did it, my dad was there. I got a 7 and a 6, and you know, I cherish those times with him. And those, I'll go up there just to, if I become the camp cook,
So be it. Yeah, right on. It's all good.
Right. So I can do the $1 roll.
Yeah. See, that's what I've kind of switched over now for my kids. You know, I mean, yeah, I hunt for myself. I have my selected time I go up. But, you know, my focus now is really getting my kids into the outdoors and getting them involved as well.
Right,
so.
exactly. And you know, it's just one of those things that it's the mindset.
Right.
It's the education. It's the mindset. It's not the Orange Army going up on just November 14th.
Got to go up and get my buck.
Go shoot your buck.
Come home.
Throw it in the trunk. Turn around and come home, and I got my buck.
Yeah. Yeah. I think those days are I
And
really
you
think
know
they're
what?
going behind us.
And Kip did say that about. And Kip did say that about the mentality of the hunter. Mm-hmm. It's not the.
Well, I asked you this question last week. You got a question there.
I'm making sure. But Jason did say that he would make us a dinner of smelt.
All right.
But it's... And that was... Okay, going back to the demographics of hunting now. Mm-hmm. The age and where they're at and what our focus is, right?
What we're doing today is not for us.
Exactly.
You can't think. I mean, I'm over 50 now. You're approaching 50, and they said the people 50 and over make up, the majority of the hunters right now. What we're doing now isn't going to dynamically change what we do in the next 5 years or 10 years, or whatever time we've got left in the woods. What we're doing now is setting the precedent for the future generations coming up.
Right, exactly.
And what we're going to save and preserve for them.
Exactly. And also for my forester, speaking of that, he thinks that a property south of me is going to also start logging.
Ah.
So, we're not looking... See, so on typical average, it takes about 20 years to cycle through
Sure.
the next... So, be about 70.
You're right.
Right? So, yeah, we're definitely not looking for us.
What I'm doing now, my grandson's going to reap the benefits from.
Exactly. Our kids and grandkids is going to be reaping the benefits to the fact of, you know what, hey, our moms and dads did this for us and carry on the tradition.
Yep.
But it's because of the educated hunter that we're working on is going to help that.
Just like I asked you last week, and I believe it was after the show, we were talking about your land that was that's being logged, and seeing when you walk onto the property and you see something, and it's just like the drastic change. And I asked you, I said, what would your dad say? What do you think your dad would say? And pose that same question to you now. With what we know about deer hunting and what we're learning, still learning, and this thing ebbs and flows and changes. What would he say?
My dad would be, oh my.
I'm not shooting any does.
or it'd be oh my, with a few other words probably.
Uh-huh.
But the other thing about that is how we view it, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as a blank canvas, and now I can sculpt the canvas how I want it to be. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing it willy-nilly. I got a forester that's helping me to make a blank slate. Say, okay, we've left mass crops over here. Mm-hmm. We've got this over here, and this is the conversation I want to sit down with them, and I want to have, and we're gonna draw it out and go, okay,
have a plan,
and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and okay, so here's what I want. I need a bulldozer, and I need to get some fields in. Mm-hmm. Let's get me that.
Yep. And
let's work this out. I've got a couple issues that with roads going through the property. Mm-hmm. Road hunters, typically. Mm-hmm. How do we diminish the possibilities with them as much as possible?
Right.
So, if you, the pictures that when you first see it, it's an OMG moment, mm-hmm. but it's like that. But that's like you said, that's progress.
Yeah, when you showed it to me, and we were talking about it last week, and actually we had that picture on our
last week's show
for the Outdoor Podcast Channel episode that we released. We had that as our player logo, and when I looked at it, I'm like, God, that is so cool, man. I mean, that is progress. But other people look at that and go, oh my gosh, man, look at the devastation.
Yeah, you know what? I know there's a couple other pictures we didn't show that there's going to be some angst. Mm-hmm. But give it. You know what? Give it to the fall of this year. Go mm-hmm. up there in the summertime and see how much green is now there.
Well, that's what I want to do when I go back up to our camp. I haven't been since January. We had snow on the last time I was up. I haven't really seen the scope of what we did last year since I left deer season.
Exactly.
I want to see it once we get the big green up. I want to see what's coming back. I want to see what areas are growing, what's coming up there, and what we need to do. Matter of fact, we're planting trees Tuesday at our place.
Okay.
Yeah,
see,
we're starting some of the replanting.
And that's part of the stuff I want. Okay, mm-hmm. What can we plant? How do we go about doing it? We've talked about in depth about forestry and grants and getting. Basically, really, if you pay attention, you don't have to pay for a lot.
No.
They will help you, and they want to help you replenish the forest.
Absolutely.
So
rejuvenate it.
Exactly. So,
well, I'll tell you what. We're bumping up here on time. We're going to have about 10 minutes roughly left in the show. Let's take our last break. Come back. And we'll kind of wrap things up a little bit. We're going to step outside. And we'll be right back after this.
I shoot PSE because I like one pin to 40 yards.
I shoot PSE for the perfect combination of feel and performance.
I shoot PSE because you can shoot lighter poundage and increase arrow speed.
I shoot PSE for the fastest bows on the planet.
I shoot PSE because my livelihood depends on my bow.
I shoot PSE because better engineering makes a better bow.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE.
I shoot PSE. I shoot PSE.
Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Throughout human history, one notorious killer has remained at the top and claimed more lives than any war or natural disaster combined. Mosquitoes. It's time to arm yourself and protect your family this season with Scent Blocker's new Bug Blocker for insects. Lasting up to 8 hours, Bug Blocker not only repels biting mosquitoes that can carry the West Nile virus, but other biting insects, including chiggers, biting flies, gnats, and ticks which can carry Lyme disease. Field tested by outfitters and guides from Alaska to Alabama and everywhere in between. The results are in, and Bug Blocker flat out works. In a high-potency sportsman strength dosage, using 25% no-nonsense DEET, plus 2 specific ingredients to target biting flies, Bug Blocker plays for keeps. For ultimate protection, pair Bug Blocker insects with Bug Blocker ticks.
Last segment of the show. I haven't broken out my soapbox
No, you
yet.
haven't.
And you've taken up all my time now, man.
Isn't it amazing how that works? And speaking of the show last night, the summit, was awesome in the fact they supported the military, gave them some tumblers, gave away a gun, and also the kids.
Women,
the kids all walked away with something.
The women had a raffle.
The women had a drawing. A drawing for 2 items, but all the kids walked away. Pretty much, I think it was all. Oh, and then they had other prizes too for the kids.
This kid walked away with, a bag of Border Patrol from Killer Food Plots.
Right,
Nice door prize.
They had a ton of door prizes.
Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate you guys stepping up and being a sponsor of that event. So we do have a little bit of your product here to use this year, which we're already going to do anyway.
Right.
But, now I've got a little something else.
Got a little something.
Yeah. So thanks.
But yeah, that was an incredible thing last night. That just getting the kids involved. I was trying to, they were talking and I was listening. There was a lot more kids than there were last year. I don't know about the amount of people. I think there were.
I think it's about the same.
Was
I think
it?
it's 250. Yeah,
Okay.
if I remember right, last year.
Okay.
We didn't go last year, but if I remember, I think it was the same amount of people.
Okay, so that was really excellent. Just seeing all those kids, and I think one kid yelled, "I already got a buck," and and one lucky kid walked away with a muzzleloader.
Absolutely.
So that was awesome.
No, it was a good time. It's wrapping up the show here. We got Easter weekend coming up. We're going to do a pre-recorded show.
Right. Yep.
Easter, it's going to be really short. We're not going to do a live stream next week. Sunday night, Easter weekend, is your time to spend with your family. It's our time to spend with our family.
Absolutely.
This will be the first time we haven't done a show in probably a year or more, maybe. I don't know. Did we do one last Easter? I don't remember. Maybe we did pre-recorded.
I think we did pre-recorded.
But, we respect that, and we want to make sure that we allow people to. I mean, we're not going to allow you to have time. You're going to take the time. But in other words, what we're saying is we're going to step away from the mic.
We're going to step away so you can step away.
Yeah, and we'll be back again the following week. Something I got coming up this weekend, this coming Saturday.
Oh, that was another gentleman I got to meet.
Yeah, Perry Woods.
Perry Woods.
You have.
I'd never met him till last night.
Okay.
What a gentleman.
Going to be up at his deer camp, and we're going to be up there with MUCC, and Midderling's going to be there.
Yeah, she's running the show.
Yeah,
I guess.
We're going to bring in some state foresters and biologists, and what we're going to do is a deer browse study, and they're going to teach us how to do a deer browse study, what the information means. We're going to get into that, so you can better manage your property and understand what's going on your property. And help those things out.
That's awesome.
So,
but you know what? And that's
going to learn.
You're going to go to several different properties, check them out. So it won't be just one property. You'll probably have a couple different properties to check it out and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think they're breaking us up into 4 groups.
Oh, okay.
And you're going to have 4 properties, and I get to go back to Perry's place. Cool place, man.
Is it really?
Yeah. So
excellent.
It's going to be a good time. Maybe some good food too, I heard.
Wouldn't it not be an outing without good food?
And while I'm up there, I'm going to be at my camp. I'm going to slide back through Saturday evening, pull some soil samples real quick out of the field.
Yeah, you got from Nick the bags?
The bags, so I'm going to get them over to Nick, have him check everything, get ready, get looking forward. Tomorrow, which will be Monday, by the time most people listen to the show, we're taking delivery of our minnows for the lake this year. So those are coming in. I talked with Wayne Sitton last night.
That was thing I wanted. That was another thing I wanted to bring up that you just reminded me. Here we are at a Deer Summit, and you're talking fish.
Yeah, we're talking minnows, fathead minnows.
And he drew something on a sheet of paper.
Yeah, it's a structure. He asked me, he said, well, what are you doing for structure in your lake? And I kind of explained some things, and he says, well, is that for the fish or is that for your minnows? And I said, well, for the minnows. He said, well, really, you need that for the fish. And he said, this is what you need to do for the minnows. And basically, he showed me how to build a structure to put down into the water made out of pallets, wooden pallets that you ship things on, that you put with a forklift. You take these and put these things together along with some plastic. And basically what you're doing is putting this in the water column and stacking them up and screwing them together. And you put visqueen between each section of pallet.
Okay.
Fathead minnows lay their eggs upside down. They want to attach them to the bottom of something.
Oh, so if you didn't have structure, it'd be like a leaf or something in the water, or
whatever.
But they upside down.
They like structure, and they like to be able to put it on the underside of that structure. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to establish a minnow population in our lake. And with that being said, he said that's the best way to do that. He said actually been to minnow school. So I didn't know they had a minnow school, but he's been.
Dean Smith actually met Perry as well a couple years ago at the Necropsy at Turtle Lake.
Yeah, so Dean, he's been to the Necropsy. Dr. James Kroll, fabulous guy. I learned more in one day about deer there, my first year at that Necropsy.
And that's what Lincoln said too.
Than I've learned in my whole life.
Right.
It was eye opening. But then you start looking at different people who are doing different things, and they're like, okay, yeah, they're doing the same thing here and it's working. They're doing the same thing over here and it's working.
Right.
Opening your mind to a different way.
Not only deer, but you're opening your mind to fathead minnows.
Fathead minnows. That's what we're. Yeah. That's
so
what
now you got
to,
and you can get pellets.
And what I did not know, the reason we're bringing fathead minnows in and not some other minnows, because there's certain minnows that have things in their digestive tract that bring from one body of water to another invasive species plants.
Ah, okay.
And if you bring the wrong minnow into your lake,
that could be bad.
And it runs, like I said, through their digestive system, and that I guess I don't know if it's a spore or if it's a seed
or whatever
it is. However that plant emits, once it's deposited into your water system,
is in.
And it can actually take it over.
So fathead minnows don't do that.
No, actually, the ones that we've got are coming out of Wisconsin. So that's.
Are you putting them in the main pond?
The big one.
Okay.
Yeah, the lake, not the trout pond.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, so you got to be. Anyway, we didn't know that either. We learned that from our minnow supplier.
Right, and then now you learned about the structure.
The structure to be able to have them reproduce. That's what we want. We want these things to take off.
Right. So if you add a couple of these structures, you'll have a minnow breeding area.
A little minnow factory, hopefully.
A couple of them in there, and you'll probably be good to go.
Well, we're hoping over time that this is what'll happen. And that's the next phase. Okay, how do you know that this is working?
Right.
We got some things we're working on.
How deep does that get?
We've got one hole that's about 60, 70, 80 feet deep.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Sweet.
But I've learned so much about wildlife biology in the last 4 or 5 years, and plant biology as well, of what works, doesn't work. Talking with Mr. Sitton last night, I asked about the American chestnut. Everybody's talking about American chestnuts now, and he's like, "Well, we've experimented with them, and they don't really work up here because it's too cold. They never get to a point where they can actually produce a mass crop."
Yes.
So, he said, but you can go to the Chinese variety, the Chinese chestnut, which works better up here, but they're prone to disease, where the American chestnut's not. So it's
a give-take.
Yeah,
you're a little too far north, and you can't do this. You go the other way, you're prone to disease.
So, he's like, you're better off trying a couple different things this way, and, started kind of picking his brain a little bit about habitat. And it's interesting when you talk to somebody who's actually tried something on the ground versus somebody just telling you and trying to sell you something.
Absolutely.
See, that's why I'm talking about opening your mind a little bit to reason, opening your mind to another way of thinking. Listen to people. Listen to that education. Listen to the people that are doing these studies. But then take that and then go ask questions to somebody who's actually doing something on the ground. Okay, have you tried this? What results did you get?
Right, exactly.
Find out. Take
everybody else
to find out. Exactly. Find out the proof in the pudding. And getting back to just a little bit, we got about less than 5 minutes here because I'm going to get this out tonight. Got into it online with somebody about this very subject.
So you got a 5-minute soapbox. Go.
About opening your mind. Old school thinking versus new school thinking. And it's like, I'm not trying to sell an idea. All I'm trying to sell is the idea of listening to another point of view and glean what information you can so you can be at least educated on the other side if you're going to debate. And if you're going to debate, make sure you've got an argument for your side that is backed up by facts.
Yes. Because
don't come in my house and crap on the floor and leave it lay and not give any input into what you want to poo-poo my idea. That's fine. You can poo-poo it. But you better have something to back up what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? You're wrong. You're wrong. And that's all it was really said. And then finally, after dragging this thing out of this person over a period of time, I finally got a little bit of an answer of what this person believes. But then there's no reason why he believed it.
Right, exactly. And that we talked about this before we got on the show. And it's just that. QDM is just shooting big bucks, and you want to shoot all the deer.
That's what I used to think. I thought the same thing.
And really, but
I thought that for years.
I don't even know if it was a half hour long. I don't even think Kip's was a half hour long. And if you listen to what they say, and just don't listen to him.
Go get your information from other people.
Go to various sources and listen to what they say. And I'm pretty sure it's going to shake out to be close.
Go listen to people who are putting these practices in the field of where they're actually doing their hunting at. And I've done this. I've asked a lot of people, does this work? Are you doing this on the ground? Are your boots on the ground working this? And does it work for you? If so, right. Why? Why is it working for you? I want to know why. I don't want to just say, yeah, it works. Or yeah, I believe this. I want to know why.
And you've got 12 counties, the Northwest 12, that It's working. They started off with one, Leelanau, and he showed the dynamics of what happened. Mm-hmm. But over the length of the time, hunters have increased going there.
Yep.
Because odds are you might see a bigger buck, and they're taking more does. They took a hit in the initial phase.
Yep.
But like you said, you had a person today that got into your wheelhouse, and he.
Well, when you come onto my page. In my forum or where I play, that's fine. You can talk all you want. You can question what I'm doing. You can have a differing opinion, but you better have something when you come. You don't have to believe what I believe. That's fine. That's what debate's for. Debate's good because you know what? If what you're doing is different than me, and you don't believe in what I'm doing, and what you're doing is working, I want to know about it because I want to put it into practice so I know.
In my real job, we have that same issue. We don't care how you get from A to Z. Mm-hmm. We get there. If you're doing something different than us, let us know because it might actually be better.
Right.
And we're having a hard time with that in some instances because we might know their secret. Mm-hmm. We work together. And this is like hunters. Mm-hmm. We work together. Yeah. So why not have a summit or a forum say, hey, QDM is okay, but here's what we do.
Yeah.
And then look at them both and figure out what's good for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't come in here and just like you said, get all up and you want to shoot all the does.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. No, you don't.
Well, no. And that was one of the statements. And when I started talking about shooting a doe that had twin buck fawns, I understand the concept. Do I practice it? Yeah, I haven't yet. But I understand the concept. And I know people who are doing it. And they're having good results with it, okay? And I started talking about that, and this person said, well, what's that got to do with anything? Well, obviously, if you're poo-pooing my idea and you don't know what I'm talking about, how can you poo-poo my idea if you don't even know what I'm talking about?
Right.
If you haven't took the time to see what people are talking about and understanding it, then come up with your argument against it if you've got a better way to do it. So,
did you get that? Did you get that, Dean? That was the debate.
What did he say?
He wanted to know what the debate was, and it was exactly about that.
It
was just somebody coming on the page and
slamming QDM
and slamming QDMA, but not having any facts in their own. Say, hey, QDM says this. This is what I say. Yeah. It was just no.
You need to quit spewing that rhetoric.
Rhetoric, no. But yet, when you went back at this person to ask him, well, what do you do? Or doe dispersal, then they not. If you're not educated, you're not going to know about that. And one of the things that was said last night was the whole concept was dispersal.
Yep. That went into the actual side of shooting the does and managing it for disease was the buck dispersal. When does start kicking the buck fawns off the following spring and they leave, they've already gotten a hold of the TB. We're specifically talking about TB. If they're going to get it, they're going to get it then. And then now you're going to send them off over here, and they're going to go into another family structure, social structure, and they're going to take that disease with them. So if they do indeed you keep your bucks localized, so you're not being kicked out and dispersed. Right. That's part of that whole mindset.
And the person just said, no, don't do that, or no, and this and that, and it was just.
And then talking about the education behind it and the scientific research, and it was poo-pooing science, poo-pooing universities, and then talking about Dr. Kroll. Well, he's from Texas. What does he know about Michigan deer? One of the leading deer biologists in the nation. And I suppose Dr. Grant Woods down in Georgia is probably the same way, because he's from Georgia. He doesn't know Michigan deer. These guys travel all over the United States studying deer. Part of Turtle Lake deer necropsy is part of his research. That's why they do it there. So they have numbers from Michigan.
Mississippi State.
Doing a predation study in the UP.
In the UP.
Bingo.
In 3 segments. So don't tell me they don't know what's going on in northern United States.
Yeah.
They're in the UP.
That's like saying, maybe somebody over in Israel, a doctor over there studying heart disease over there, doesn't know people in Michigan's heart disease. So we're not going to listen to him,
Right.
These people travel all over the world. These deer biologists travel over the United States and to Canada. They study this stuff. This is what they do. There's nothing behind them trying to sell you a product. It's about the deer research. So
hold on. We've got another remark here. That's why they don't have facts and end up resorting to gaslighting you or inject emotion into an argument because they lack facts.
That's a perfect explanation, Dean, of exactly what I've said. What I've told my kids, even in worldviews, whether it be politics, religion, what have you. Anything that you're debating, debate on facts.
Okay, and
don't debate on emotion.
The second part of that, he hit the nail on the head. Biggest thing that he has found with people who won't open their minds is driven solely by fear.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fear is. Fear of what?
Change.
Yeah. That's the part I don't understand.
Well, we talked about that.
Change is good.
The hunters of old, our forefather hunters, don't shoot no does.
Yeah. Like I said, what would your dad think now?
Exactly.
My dad's same way. My dad started to understand why we're doing what we're doing. He can't just, he still has a hard time bringing himself to shoot the does.
You are absolutely right, Dean. Fear of change.
So.
Fear of not filling a tag. Yeah, we won't get to that.
So that's...
So is that your mini soapbox? Did I contain it enough?
I think so. Yeah, I really wanted to roll tonight. Did. I really did. And I try to be present facts, present my side of what I believe without getting belligerent.
And
it's hard.
This gentleman, Dean's right again. Fear that everything they know has been proven not true.
Right.
You know what? Don't be afraid to learn something new.
That's why I told this gentleman. I said, have an open mind. Have an open mind enough to look at the other side, and at least look at it and say, man, is something working there? That's the thing. I heard Perry Wood say this one time. His neighbor come to him and said, what are you doing different? Because something over here has changed, and I'm not having the success I used to. What are you doing differently? And he actually got to the point where he knew he had to do something. And Perry explained to him, what he was doing, the practices he was using on his property. And now this guy is part of his co-op.
So that's kind of my mindset. Why am I logging? Exactly that. Mm-hmm. I'm changing. I'm going to change the way we've been hunting to try something different.
Right. I tell you what, we're going to wrap up our podcast. We'll continue this talk here on the live stream for a little bit. But remember, guys, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, we're going to do a short version show next week because it's Easter. Give you guys a little bit of a break. No live stream, so we'll be back again in 2 weeks with a live stream. So,
and yes, Dean, subscribe, and you can watch us every Sunday night when we're live and join our conversation.
Except next week.
Because
it's Easter. All right, folks, that'll do it for us tonight here at the Up North Journal. This episode was brought to you by PSE Archery,
Black Eagle Arrows,
Scent Blocker,
Killer Food Plots,
Cabela's,
Spot Shooters,
Antler Action,
Family Traditions Tree Stands,
Tom's Custom Turkey Calls,
and Badass Slingshots.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.